Right, so this is going to be one take, raw, uncut, unedited, and it's going to land on YouTube as it is, as I've recorded. I'm up at about 4,500 meters in the Himalayas on the snowman trek, hence the reason I'll be huffing and puffing. But this is some thoughts on resilience and a little bit of a guide from my point of view. I should say also that this is based on 30 years of working in some of the world's most extreme, remote and hostile locations, and it's through doing and through experiential learning that I have these insights. But over the last couple of years I've been lucky enough to work with Professor Andy McCann and Professor Martin Jones, and to actually put some meat on the bones of how I've been able to get through all the things I have, and understand why sometimes I'm resilient and other times I'm not. So I guess the first thing to realise is, with regards to resilience, obviously the word gets bandied around a lot. What does it actually mean? It's, from my point of view, it's your ability to get through something and come out the other side, not unscathed, potentially stronger, but also not stoic. I don't mean grinding through something, not talking to anyone and just dealing with it on your own. Part of being resilient and getting out the other side of a potentially sort of arduous situation, it comes down to realizing that you're struggling, realizing that you've maybe not made the best decisions. So for me, resilience is about understanding that I'm potentially not in a great spot, but knowing and having confidence that I will be able to get through it and get out the other side. Another common misconception is that people are born resilient, and that's just not true. I can tell you that when I was born and when I was a young kid, I certainly wasn't resilient, and it's something that I've learned over the last 30 years, from being in the Royal Marines to expeditions, leading expeditions all over the world, and every single one that goes badly wrong or goes well, you learn from and you become more resilient. So resilience really is a moving target. Sometimes you can be resilient and other times not. Parts of your life you're more resilient. The older you get, the more resilient you are. You've seen it before, you've got through it. But understanding that and knowing that sometimes you're going to be fragile, sometimes you're going to be resilient, and a lot of it comes down to what you're doing proactively, to how you deal with stressors in the moment. So what I would say as well right at the start is that you are resilient. You have the capacity to be resilient and to deal with adversity, and you just have to look at the human race to realise that we wouldn't be here if we weren't resilient as a species. So understanding that first of all you have the capacity to be resilient, and people just don't really know that about themselves or have the confidence in their own ability that they can get through tough times. So what do I do to make sure that I'm in the best position for dealing with adversity? Well, first thing that I do is I make sure that I get all the basics right. Get your sleep right. If you are sleep deprived, even just one night or 2 nights, then you are way less likely to be able to deal with a stressor in the moment. So getting your sleep right, plenty of literature out there about what's good for you personally for sleep. Exercise. If you are unfit mentally, physically or emotionally, you will really struggle to deal with adversity when it comes. And I've certainly found that the fitter I am, the stronger I am, mentally, physically and emotionally, the easier it is for me to roll through adversity. So getting your sleep right, getting your exercise. Nutrition is a big one. If you're eating shit, then you're going to be thinking shit. What you scran, what you put into your body, and when you do it, makes a big difference to not just your mood, but how you actually physiologically deal with a stressor in the moment. So getting those basics right. The next thing is your mindset. You really do need to work on your mindset. That comes down to being optimistic. And the way that I do that about any situation is realise I have next to no control over it, but try and find something to be optimistic about. Find some sort of positive in the situation. And a really good way of doing that, and I do it with the boys every night, is a bit of a gratitude practice. Just pick a couple of things that you can be grateful for in the day. Something that you can say, well, I've had a shit day, but at least X. And if you can't find something to be grateful for, then you need to lower the bar a little bit and find something to be grateful for. And that practice over the course of weeks or months actually stops you seeing only negative, and you do start to notice things when things are going well. So that's the one part. And having, oh, my fingers are freezing. Having optimism, but confidence in coping, knowing that you can get through a really shit time really does help. And once you've got through one, you can get through any that life throws at you. Life generally is adversity. And another thing that I do, and potentially that's why I'm up here freezing my tits off in the Himalayas, walking for 30 days, is doing hard things by choice. Really does help you build capacity. It helps you build a strong foundation, you know, and it's not necessarily linked. Me being up here in minus temperatures and at altitude is hard physically and it's hard mentally. We're covering a lot of miles every day, but that gives you the confidence in coping later on down the line when you need it. And just being able to dig into those reserves, get cold, get wet, get hungry, get tired, that actually by choice does help you build capacity for dealing with adversity when it comes. And I suppose to finish up, if you look at the brands that I work with, Through Dark, Endeavour Through Adversity, Bremont, Beyond Endurance back in the day. If you look at the motto of Sir Ernest Shackleton, Vincimus Fortitudine, by endurance we conquer, on the Commando Memorial up at Spain Bridge, united we conquer. All of this is basically saying we don't just stop when life throws us a curveball. We don't just give up. We've still got a job to do. We've still got a family to look after. We've still got shit to get done. And yes, understand, recognise that you are going through a stressful time. Find a way to regulate it, but then get back on your horse, get back up and get at it again. Learn from that situation and grow from it. Because what we want to be doing is building capacity to deal with adversity when it comes, not to crumble, not to shatter, not to be fragile, but to be confidently strong, having courage in coping, and confidence in your own ability, but really, ultimately, what we want to do is become anti-fragile, grow from the adversity. That is my rant over.